Welcome back to AM Northwest. Our first guest is an award-winning author whose latest work is a beautiful tribute to the trailblazing actress Cicely Tyson. Here to share more, we welcome back the author of Cicely Tyson, Portland native Renée Watson. Great to see you again.
Morning.
I feel like you're just part of the family.
I know,
because
it's
you're
so
here,
good to
it's
see you
wonderful.
again.
Why Cicely Tyson?
So I personally loved Cicely Tyson's work, her movies, but I was invited to tell this story. She wrote her own story and her family wanted to see it as a children's book, and so I adapted her book for young readers, and I was invited to do the project. So I can't take credit for having the idea, but I'm so honored that I was asked to and trusted to tell her story.
And the artist does this, the illustrations in such a unique way. Describe how it looks for
Sherry
folks.
Shine is a quilt artist, a fabric artist, and she made quilts for this book. So each page is quilted, and it's just stunning and beautiful and unique, and I'm so proud of the art in this book.
Because I haven't seen art like this before.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, she really does very unique renderings of illustrations, and this is her first picture book.
I love it. And it really is about Black history, too, because you take us through where things are and then where she is in this time and place.
Yeah, so she was born in the 1920s, and in her autobiography, she's telling her life in the context of what's happening in the world. And so I was trying to show that in the picture book for young people to understand that she lived 9 decades. So she saw a lot of life and had a lot of experiences. And so yes, Black history, American history is definitely a part of the book as well. And it's told in verse. You know, when you have a big life like that, I was like, how do I pull out moments of her world to share with young readers? So there are vignettes and poetry that tell her wide story.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, when she was a kid, she had very caring parents.
Yes.
Very caring. What did her dad call her? It was a nickname he called her, like Bean Sprout or something like
String
that?
Bean.
String Bean.
She was so thin.
She was
and
so thin.
Yeah, and he adored her. She adored him. He was a musician. She would sit on his lap and he would play music and she would sing along. She loved music and she loved to sing and grew up going to church. And so she learned a lot of the performer that we get to see as an adult was those seedlings where when she was in church singing for the congregation. And they all loved her and encouraged her to use her gifts and to shine her light. And I love this idea that you come into this world with talents, just natural things that you don't know why you're good at doing. And if you have adults who will fan that flame, you never know what can happen. So this little girl who's just speaking in church and quoting scriptures ends up becoming a great orator and actress. And,
well, and she started out as a model, right? Didn't someone spot her on the street and they just thought, oh my gosh, she's beautiful?
Yes, which is a beautiful thing too, because when she was younger, she was teased for her dark skin and for her thin frame, her hair. And so to then be asked to model and because of what she looked like, I think really touched her deeply.
She was on a number of magazine covers.
Yes, Jet magazine, Ebony magazine, Essence, like she absolutely was a trailblazer. And at a time, I always say, you know, I have the luxury of living in this world with all these hashtags about Black girl magic and knowing that my dark skin is beautiful and natural hair is in, but she was a trailblazer because at the time when she started wearing her hair natural, that was not what people were doing.
Wasn't she the very first Black woman to wear her hair natural on television?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that is, I mean, it's groundbreaking, and I love that she had the boldness and the self-confidence to do that. To be
and didn't she also style hair for a while?
She did. So she used to do women's hair at her church. She was like the hairstylist of the congregation or for special events. And her mother would always say, I know you're going to do something special in the world, but she didn't know what it was. So are you going to be a musician? She could play the piano. Are you going to do hair? What is it going to be? And it ends up that she's an actress, but she was talented in many, many areas.
But initially, Mom wasn't too happy with her being an actress.
Yeah, she wasn't so excited about this idea of Hollywood.
Right? But then she got used to the idea and thought her daughter did great work.
Yeah, she went to a play and she saw her daughter and realized what a gift and what a light she was.
What would you say stands out of some of the movies that people would recognize her in? Like, I think of Sounder.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Sounder, the autobiography of Miss
Jane Pittman.
Oh my goodness,
Yes.
I saw that in high school.
Yeah.
It changed my life. And then in more recent years, you know,
was in Roots, too.
She was. Oh yes,
Yeah.
that's the iconic movie
Yeah.
for sure. And then I love that in more recent years we got to know her on TV.
Yeah.
With How to Get Away with Murder, she was with Viola Davis. She's in a lot of Tyler Perry.
Yeah, she played her mom,
movies.
Viola's mom.
she
Yeah,
did.
that was great.
Which was an interesting thing because in that show, Viola also has a very vulnerable moment of a black woman taking off her wig and her makeup. And so it was interesting to see the two of them on set together, on screen together.
Yeah, it's an incredible book that you have here. I want to talk to you about the book fair, which was this weekend. How did that go?
Oh, it was so amazing. The Portland Book Festival is one of my favorite events to do. I have been going since my very first book came out, so that was 2010.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great. I was in conversation with Joe Wilkins and Mitchell Jackson, and I did a pop-up reading for Black Girl, You Are Atlas. And yeah, it was just so good. It's always good to be home and to share work about Portland in Portland.
Yeah.
So I was there for Skin and Bones, and that takes place in Portland. So it was a really
Such a great
beautiful
book,
thing.
by the way.
Thank you.
So great.
So yeah, it was special to be in my hometown talking about these characters who live in the city.
By the way, we talked with the woman who runs, one of the women who runs the
Amanda,
book.
probably?
Yes. And she talked. You are the like the primo Portland author that has to be featured at the book festival every year.
That.
So that there's that. Now you also have another project. It's a podcast, right?
So the
Archive Project.
Yes. Earlier this year, we celebrated the stories of 30 Black Portlanders. I interviewed them under the vision of Jacqueline Woodson, who's an amazing, brilliant woman, author, genius. And she had a project where she got 10 writers all around the nation to interview elders about what it was like growing up in their region. And my lens was as a Black person living in the Pacific Northwest. So I interviewed 30 elders. We celebrated their stories. And there's a podcast from Literary Arts that highlights that program and interviewed me about my process of how I chose the elders and what those stories are and what it means to think about Black Portland and why is it important to preserve history and get these stories on record.
I did want to bring up the picture I love most of you is of you, I think in, I forget what grade, but you're in grade school. This picture is the most adorable. I bring it up every time you come on the show because I love it so much. It's so
That
cute.
is me at Vernon Elementary School in Portland, Oregon.
I love it. I love it.
Picture day.
You love it. All right, we want to tell everyone the book again is titled Cicely Tyson. We're going to put all the information on our website at katu.com. Renee, thank you so much.
You.
Always good to see you.
Thank you for the love.
All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.